Good morning, my dear students. As we are aware that we are in the last part of our dissolution of partnership form. So today we are going to take the last phase of that. That is, as I have mentioned in the previous class, was the journal entries of this chapter, right? So most of the things we have done in the journal entries, but still, as a journal entry, as specific questions, we have not solved much. Okay, so we are going to do that, and we will finish up this particular chapter with this particular video. Okay, please go through this video along with all the videos of this chapter so that you can get a proper understanding of the chapter. So let's start. So here is illustration number 30. What is given here? What journal entries would be passed for the following transactions on the dissolution of the firm after various assets other than cash and third party liabilities has been transferred to realization account. Okay, all the assets, all the liabilities has been transferred to a realization account. Now what to do? So first question, what is saying? Stock worth rupees 15,000 is taken over by partner A. So now all the asset and liability is in the realization account. It has been transferred. Now it is asking that what will you do for the first case, that is stock worth of 15,000 is taken over by A. If A has taken over asset of rupees 15,000. So partner, if the partner is taking asset, the journal entry is very simple. Partner's capital will be debited because his capital will decrease if he takes asset. So A's capital account debit, and it is a profit for the firm because the firm's liability is decreasing. So that is why realization account is credit. Right. So the journal entry will be like this: A's capital account debit to realization account 15,000. Coming to the next one, compensation to employees paid by the firm amounted to 20,000. We are paying to the employees the compensation of 20,000. So what will be the entry? It's a loss for the firm. So realization account debit, and since we are making the payment, so to bank. So realization account debit to bank 20,000. Okay. Then coming to the third one, sundry creditors amounted to 8,000. These were paid at a discount of 5%. The entry will be same like the second one. What is the entry? Loss for the firm since the firm is paying. So realization account debit to bank. Okay. And what will be the amount? 8,000 minus 5%. So 5% of 8,000 is 400. So if you deduct, it will be 7,600. So it will be realization account debit 7,600 to bank account 7,600. Clear? Then coming to the fourth one, there was an unrecorded asset of 2,000 which was taken over by B at 1,500 rupees. Okay, 2,000 rupees of unrecorded asset was there, which was now taken over by B. So what will happen if B is taking the asset? So if B is taking the asset, so B is also a partner, right? So what will happen? If B is taking over, so B's capital account debit to realization account, right? Same like the previous case. B's capital account debit to realization account 1,500. Then coming to the last point, that is profit on realization was 21,000, which was distributed between A and B in the ratio of 4:3. So how you are going to do that? Very simple. First of all, realization is showing profit, that means realization is credit. So you have to close it by debiting. So realization account debit, and this is a profit, so capital will increase. So to capital account of A and B. So the entry will be like this: realization account debit 21,000 to A's capital account to B's capital account. 21,000 will be divided in the ratio 4:3. So that means it is coming 12,000 and 9,000. So the journal entry will be realization account debit 21,000 to A's capital account 12,000 to B's capital account 9,000. Okay, as realization account debit 21,000 to A's capital account 12,000 to B's capital account 9,000. I hope this sum is clear to all of you. Now we will go to the next question. Okay, so what is in the next question? See, the next question says that Rohit, Kunal, and third are partners in a farm. They have decided that they will dissolve their farm, and the journal entries will be passed on the various assets and liabilities being transferred. Okay, that means it is told that past journal entries for the following after various assets, that is other than cash and bank, and the third party liabilities has been transferred to the realization account. So in most of the cases it will be the thing. If it is not mentioned, then also you have to assume that it has been transferred. Okay, it has been transferred, and you are going to show only the settlement entry. So what is the point number one answer? What will be that? Kunal agreed to pay off his wife's loan at 6,000. Whether wife's loan or husband's loan doesn't matter. A liability is a liability. So what will be the entry? It will be realization account debit, since the farm is going to be the loser Either cases, if the partner is paying or the firm is paying, this is firm's loss. So realization account debit 6,000 to Kunal's capital account 6,000 will pay to Kunal. Okay, realization account debit 6,000 to Kunal's capital account 6,000 since he has paid from his pocket to his wife. Now then coming to point number B, total creditor of the firm were 40,000. Creditors were 10,000. Okay, 10,000 के creditor क्या हुआ? Were given a piece of furniture costing 8,000 in full. Okay, creditors of 10,000, they took 8,000 rupees of furniture in full. That means there will be no entry for this 10,000 rupees of creditor because they have taken, doesn't matter what is the cost of the furniture, they have taken it as a full settlement. So 10,000 rupees of creditor के ऊपर कोई entry नहीं होगा. Make it as a note. If it is not there in a solution also, you make it as a note that creditors worth rupees 10,000 who were settled at a by giving the furniture of 8,000 will not be entered, will have no entry here. मतलब उसके ऊपर कोई एंट्री नहीं होगा, ऐसे एंट्री बनेगा रियलाइजेशन अकाउंट डेबिट टू रियलाइजेशन, सो इट विल बी कैंसिल, देयर विल बी नो एंट्री फॉर दैट. एंड फाइनल सेटलमेंट, फुल एंड फाइनल सेटलमेंट हो गया 10,000 वाले के साथ. Remaining creditors were allowed at a discount of 10%. So after 10,000 has been paid, what is the remaining creditor? 30,000. So 30,000 of the creditor will be paid at a discount of 10%. 30,000 के 10% होता है 3,000. That means remaining creditor will be paid 27,000. Right? 27,000. So the journal entry is realization account debit. It's a loss for the firm. Realization account debit to bank account. Isn't it? Realization account debit 27,000 to bank account 27,000. You can see here realization account debit 27,000 to bank account 27,000. Then coming to the point number 3, Rohit had given a loan of 70,000 to the farm, which was duly paid. Rohit had given a loan to the farm of 70,000, which was duly paid. That means it's a partner's loan. So how will the partner's loan be settled? We have seen in the previous questions also. It is partner's loan account debit 70,000 to bank account 70,000. It will be directly paid from the partner's loan account. So Rohit's loan account debit 70,000 to bank account 70,000, isn't it? Rohit's loan account debit because Rohit's loan was credit. Earlier it was liability credit. Now you have to close it by debiting. So Rohit's loan account debit 70,000 to bank account 70,000. Okay. Rohit's loan account debit 70,000 to bank account 70,000. Then coming point number D, a machine which was not recorded in the book. Okay, a machine was there which was not recorded in the book was taken over by Kunal. It was taken over by Kunal at 8,000. Unrecorded machine was there which was taken over by Kunal at 3,000. Okay, Kunal took that machine at 3,000, whereas it was expected to be a value of 5,000. Doesn't matter what is the expected value. Okay, Kunal is going to take it 3,000, so only at 3,000 we are going to record the asset. How it will be the entry? Since Kunal is taking the asset, so it will be Kunal's capital account debit, right, to realization account 3,000. So it is Kunal's capital account debit 3,000 to realization account 3,000. Then coming to the next one, of the firm had a debit balance of 15,000 in the profit and loss account on the date of dissolution. Firm is having a debit balance of 15,000 in the profit and loss account. That means the profit and loss account was there, which was showing a debit balance. That means loss balance. So how will the loss be transferred? Obviously, it is showing debit balance, so you have to close it by crediting. And who will bear the loss? Partners. So it will be partners capital account debit to profit and loss account. This type of some plenty you have done, right? So what will be the who are the partner? Rohit's capital account debit, isn't it? What is the profit sharing ratio? It is not mentioned, so it will be equally, isn't it? So Rohit's capital account debit, Kunal's capital account debit, Sarthak's capital account debit to profit and loss account. Okay, so you can see here Rohit's capital account debit 5,000, Kunal's capital account debit 5,000, Sarthak's capital account debit 5,000 to profit and loss account 15,000. Since the profit sharing ratio is not mentioned, so 15,000 will be given in the ratio 1:1:1 equally. So it is coming 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Then coming to the last point, that is Sarthak paid the realization expenses of 16,000. Okay, Sarthak has paid a realization expenses of 16,000 out of his private fund, who was to get a remuneration of 15,000 for completing resolution process and was responsible to bear all the realization expenses. He told that I will bear all the realization expenses and I'll do the dissolution work. You give me a remuneration of 15,000. Clear? And this time what happened? He has paid the actual realization of 16,000. Clear? He has paid the actual realization of 16,000. Okay. So what will happen here? This amount of 16,000, although Sarthak has paid, but he will get only what he was supposed to get, that is 15,000 from the farm. So the journal entry will be like this: realization account debit to Sarthak's capital account 15,000. You can see here, realization account debit to Sarthak's capital account 15,000, only the amount of remuneration that he is supposed to get. Okay, since he has taken the promise that he will bear all the expenses, so you will get only 15,000. Okay, realization account debit, the loss for the farm, 15,000 to Sarthak's capital account 15,000. Okay, now coming to the next one, illustration number 38. The next one, in fact, this is one of the very important one also, because since it has come in the CBSE board 2012 set 1 and set 2. So let's see it nicely and properly. What is here? Parul, Payal and Priyanka are partners. Okay, they decided to dissolve their farm, pass necessary journal entries for the following after various assets other than cash and bank. Okay, and third party liability has been transferred to realization. All the things has been done, all the settlements done. Now you have to, that means all the transfer has been done in the realization. Now you have to do the final settlement from the realization account. What you how you are going to settle it, that is what you are going to show. So number one, what is there? There were total debtors of 76,000. Okay, and the provision for doubtful debt as stood in the book were 6,000. 12,000 debtors proved bad and rest paid the amount duly. Okay, 12,000 rupees we did not get. Listen carefully. 76 was the total debtor. 6,000 was the provision. Now, as I already told you, that provision will be transferred in the along with the liabilities. Okay, in the credit side of realization, and total debtors of 76,000 will be transferred in the debit side of the realization. That you all are aware, right? But since it has already been transferred to realization, so we will not show that entry. We will show only how much we have recovered. Only how much we have recovered. No need to see what was the bad debt, what is the other thing. Forget about that. Just find out what is the amount we have recovered. How will you find out? Obviously by considering the bad debt. So how much we have received, you see only that much. So what was the total letter? 76,000, out of which 12,000 were bad. That means how much will we receive? 64,000, isn't it? 76,000 minus 12,000. The bad debt, if we deduct, then it is 64,000. So you will receive only 64,000. The general entry will be like this: bank account debit to realization account 64,000, isn't it? Bank account debit 76,000 minus 12,000. Okay, bank account debit 76,000 minus 12,000, 64,000. So bank account debit to realization account 64,000. Coming to the next one, Parul agreed to pay off her husband's loan of 7,000 at a discount of 5%. Parul is agreeing to pay her husband's loan at of 7,000 at a discount of 5%. Doesn't matter whether husband's loan or a wife's loan. I already told you, doesn't matter whether it's partner's husband loan or partner's wife's loan. If it is not partner's loan, it will be taken as an outside liability. So how will you pay? How will you give the entry for outside liabilities? Very simple. Realization account debit, since it is a loss for the firm, isn't it? Although Parul is paying now, but Parul is going to get the money for that. So realization account debit, firm's loss to Parul's capital account. How much? 7,000 minus 5%. So it will be how much? 6,650. 6,650, isn't it? So the general entry will be realization account debit, 7,000 minus 5% of 7,000, it is 350. So 7,000 minus 350, it is coming 6,650 to Parul's capital account, 6,650. Now coming to the next one, a machine which was not recorded in the book was taken over by Payal at 3,000, whereas it is expected to be having a value of 5,000. Same like what we have seen in the previous question. So we are not concerned about what is the expected value. We'll see what is the value that Payal is taking, 3,000. So the journal entry will be, it is partner's capital will be debited since the partner is taking the asset. So Payal's capital account debit 3,000 to realization account 3,000. Okay, Payal's capital account debit 3,000 to realization account 3,000. I'm going a little fast because the same thing we have done in the previous question also, and similar things we have learned across, we have come across very nicely. So coming to the fourth point, that is a contingent liability not provided for of rupees 4,000 was also discharged. There was a liability, contingent liability means probability of the liability was there, but it was not recorded earlier. Now it is paid off at 4,000 rupees. So what will be the entry? Any unrecorded liability, the entry is very simple: realization account debit to the cash or bank. Okay, so here also same, realization account debit 4,000 to bank account 4,000. You can see here realization account debit 4,000 to bank account 4,000. Okay. Then coming to the next one, the firm had a debit balance of 27,000 in the profit and loss account on the date of dissolution. The same thing we have done in the previous question. What was that? It will be partners capital account debit to profit and loss account. So partners provision ratio is not mentioned, so it will be Parul's capital account debit, Payal's capital account debit, Priyanka's capital account debit. Each of them will have to bear 9,000 rupees to profit and loss account. You can see here, Parul's capital account debit, Payal's capital account debit, Priyanka's capital account debit to profit and loss account. Each of them have to bear 9,000 because the profit sharing is not mentioned, so it will be shared equally. Then coming to the last point. Priyanka paid the realization expenses of 15,000 out of her pocket, and she was to get a fixed remuneration of 18,000 for completing the dissolution process. She was supposed to get 18,000, but the realization expenses was how much? 15,000, and she has paid it. Doesn't matter whether your realization expenses, actual realization expenses is less or more. How much was the fixed remuneration? 18,000. So this fixed remuneration of 18,000 we have to pay. Okay, whether the payment is extra or less than that doesn't matter. In the previous question it was extra, isn't it? In the previous question it was extra, and this question it is less payment. Doesn't matter. We'll make the fixed remuneration. So what will be the entry? Realization account debit 18,000 to Priyanka's capital account 18,000. You can see here. Just a minute. In this particular question, one very important thing is also there. Now, just a minute for that. Okay, we have to just clarify that. Yes, there is a very important and nice thing that you must all know. Priyanka has paid the realization expenses of 15,000. Okay, out of her pocket, and she was to get a fixed remuneration of 18,000 for completing the dissolution process. Dissolution process means the whole process of bringing the asset, settling the asset, making the payment, everything. Okay, and realization expenses only means the settling of the assets and liabilities. Okay, or you can say very specifically only paying of the only selling of the assets, how to realize the assets. So for that she has paid how much? 15,000 rupees from her pocket. And for the all of the dissolution work, सारे के सारे dissolution के काम करने के लिए उसको 18,000 रुपए देना था. ठीक है, मतलब फार्म उसको 18,000 रुपए पूरा डिसोल्यूशन के काम के लिए देने वाला था, और वो तो उसके साथ उसने रियलाइजेशन का खर्चा भी जो 15,000 है अपने पॉकेट से दे दिया. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि टोटल कितना पेमेंट हो रहा है? प्रियंका इज पेइंग 15,000 फॉर द रियलाइजेशन एक्सपेंसेस, and in addition to that she was supposed to get 18,000 for the fixed remuneration. The journal entry will be like this: realization account debit 15,000 plus 18,000, that is 33,000 to Priyanka's capital account 33,000. You can see here realization account debit 33,000 to Priyanka's capital account 33,000. The realization expense of 15,000 plus the remuneration that Priyanka should get for the dissolution process. Okay, that is the total sum of this thing. Okay, I hope all of you have understood this point. Once again, I'm repeating it. In this question, point number F, Priyanka has paid the realization expense of 15,000 out of her pocket that she must get. And in addition to that, she was also supposed to get a fixed remuneration of 18,000 for completing the dissolution process, for all the dissolution work. You can see in the previous question, what was that? It was not the dissolution process. Okay. So what was given here? Sarthak paid the realization expense 16,000 out of his private fund, who was also to get a remuneration of 15,000 for completing the dissolution process and was responsible to bear all the realization expenses. Okay, here we have not got the particular thing that she was supposed to bear the realization expenses. Only for completing the dissolution process she got 18,000. So for this realization expenses, Priyanka will get extra 15,000 for the payment she made. So 15,000 plus 18,000, she got 33,000. The entry is realization account debit to Priyanka's capital account 33,000. Okay. Coming to another question, I want all of you to solve this question. Okay, I'm just showing you the picture. I want you to solve this question. How much we have done, that is very exceptionally good. Okay, I don't feel like you need to explain much more about that. You all are clear about that. Now again, if you have any doubt, you please clarify that from me. I want all of you to have a 100% knowledge of this particular chapter. I'll just show you the answers so that you can just refer if needed. Okay, so if in case you are not able to understand or there is any doubt, please clarify it. Okay, and if it is clear, that also please make a comment and tell that what are the things you need to reassess, or you want to know again, or if it is clear, then also you can mention that it is very clear, sir. And please mark up your attendance, that is very important. and prove that you have seen that video with that particular attendance. Please go through the videos nicely. This is very, very important for all of you. Take care of these things. Okay. With the hope that we'll meet again in the next video, and hoping that all of us will be fit and fine. I take leave of you all. We'll be meeting in the next video. Till then, bye bye.